Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the SmackDown report for the 16th of April 2021. Um, Not bad. I mean, for a WWE product, this wasn't a bad show. They're trying to shake things up. I guess we should give it a chance for a little bit, but I don't see anything terribly new here that makes me excited. And I still marvel at the fact that this is a network television program where they have the ability to meet the best possible audience, and yet they're wasting so many opportunities. Anyway, they recapped Roman Reigns defeating Edge and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania the second night. Michael Cole welcomes us to the new era of SmackDown. How many new eras have we had in the 20 years of this show? Cole introduced his new broadcast partner, Pat McCaffrey. That's horrible to me. I don't like the guy. Yes, he's a good promo. No, he should not be broadcasting wrestling. Runs down the fact that he, in fact, is a sports star, so Vince must be on the we want real pal kick. And basically, apparently, he's doing a heel shtick where they're calling him Mr. Friday Night, and then that makes Michael Cole the babyface, even though Cole has been overstaying his welcome for a while. He does irritate Cole for the majority of the night, so I guess if you don't like Cole, you might enjoy this. Anyway, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Paul Heyman open the show with, you guessed it, a promo. Reigns, Uso, and Heyman make their way to the ring. They pipe in boos and chants of a negative nature. Reigns asked Heyman to explain who he beat. On Sunday, Heyman talks about Edge and Daniel Bryan's career. He praises Reigns for the victory at Mania. Reigns notes he called the shots like Babe Ruth. He smashed them, stacked them, and pinned them. And then he believes management will never put him in another triple threat match. He beat a Hall of Famer and a future Hall of Famer. He points out no one wants to face him. He opens the show, but now it's time to go. They start to leave. Cesaro's music hits. He comes to the ring face to face with Reigns. Cesaro grabs the mic. Excuse me, mic, but Reigns walks away. Cesaro waits for them to leave. Reigns delivers a promo. And I guess you could say that it's kind of cool that Cesaro's put in the role. But I don't have faith in Cesaro being the guy to beat Reigns, even though it would be good for business because it would get somebody new at that level. Cole and McCaffrey praised the fact that Cesaro beat Seth Rollins at Mania. Cole said they're going to look at the single most important match from Mania or moment after the break. Cesaro approaches officials like Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. He's angry that Reigns disrespected him. He demands a match with Reigns tonight and says it doesn't have to be for the title. Why wouldn't you shoot for a title match? Anyway, great way to make a new babyface look like a bonehead. Shoot for the stars, and if you fall short, hey, whatever. But asking for a non-title match, why? Pierce said no, but Deville said she talked to Reigns about it. They recap, and then they kind of continue through. Ultimately, Mysterio, that is Junior, or Dominic here, or actually Ray Jr. with Dominic defeats Otis with Chad Gable. Otis isn't a guy I would even have on the show. I wouldn't even have him on my roster, so I don't really get it, but they do have a fun short match, I guess. Otis has an early advantage because of his power, drops Mysterio with a press slam. Mysterio fights back, forearms, climbs to the top. Otis cuts him off, misses a charge in the corner. Mysterio responds with a senton off the top for near fall. Mysterio tries a springboard crossbody, but Otis catches him with a slam. Otis misses a splash off the second turnbuckle, and Mysterio recovers, hits 619, and hits a crucifix for the win. Way to get new talent over. Rey Mysterio's in his 40s. Good talent, mind you, but he's not in a feud with Otis, so we don't really care about getting new people over. Not that Otis is new. I mean, we wasted the Money in the Bank thing. Again, this product is just so disappointing week by week. Anyway, Heyman responds to Cesaro's challenge post-break. Kayla Braxton interviews Heyman, asks if Reigns will accept the challenge. Heyman said there's no rain delay on Saturday. He said Angel's tears are what becomes when Reigns gets his got his hands on Edge and Bryan. Heyman said that Cesaro has $1 million body, 10-cent brain. He gives the fans what they want. That's not exactly what I imagine the fans want, but I don't think Heyman really cares about that either, to be fair. In any event, we go to a Sami Zayn segment, and Zayn makes his way to the ring. They recap his match with Kevin Owens. Owens gives Logan Paul the stunner. Zayn claims he got screwed at WrestleMania. Michael Cole apparently poisoned the mind of Logan Paul. Zayn could feel something was wrong, and he was distracted by Paul throughout the match. Zayn demands vindication, calls out Owens, and Zayn notes there's no toxic fans to distract him this time. Owens defeats Zayn. They had a decent match up until the finish. They brawl around ringside. Owens has an early advantage, drops Zayn with a clothesline, hits a attempted cannonball, and Zayn avoids the cannonball, hangs Owen over the top to take over. Owens responds with another clothesline, drops Zayn on the top rope. Owens places Zayn on the top turnbuckle. He rocks Zayn with a decent amount of chops, and then Zayn fights back. Zayn hits a sunset bomb off the top for near fall. McCaffrey asks Cole to move the move's name, and he said it's the coolest move he's seen. Apparently he doesn't watch a lot of tape. Anyway, we go to break. We come back. Zayn sends Owens off the top rope, and Owens hits a super kick. Owens follows up with a swanton bomb for a near fall. Why is a guy the size of Owens doing a swanton? Anyway, Zayn rolls the floor, tries to leave. Owens brings him back in the ring, tries a pop-up powerbomb. Zayn avoids that, but he gets hit with a backbreaker. Zayn tries to leave. Owens goes after him. Zayn slips out of the ring, tries to drag him back in. Zayn pokes Owen in the eyes and gets counted out. Post-match, Owens brings Zayn into the ring and hits a stunner. New Intercontinental Champion Apollo Crews is with Commodore Azeez Cruz. What a horrible name. Brags about winning the championship. Big E's not there. He introduced the Commodore and says he's a former member of the Nigerian Guard. Cruz did not happen to mention that he has a history with WWE, so I guess we're supposed to forget. Bianca Belair is celebrating her women's championship win. They do blue carpet and balloons because she's, on the blue brand, I guess. Street Profits promise to win the tag titles later. Montez Ford notes they're out there for a different reason. He says it's a historic night for them, particularly a moment he'll be telling his grandchildren about. They air a good video package of Belair and Banks from Mania. Dawkins and Ford are emotional, and it certainly looks good. Ford gives Belair an awesome introduction, calls her the roughest, toughest person he's ever known. Belair notes she never thought this moment wasn't possible despite the setbacks she's had. She admits if someone told her a year ago she'd be in this position, she wouldn't have believed them. or she would have agreed, rather. She says she's not cocky, she just believes in herself. Everyone has a little EST in them. She praises Banks, thanks her for the match, which is stupid. Why are you thanking heel? Anyway, Belair notes Banks pushes her, and they both made history. She mentions Banks leaving with a scar. Belair points out that they started making history. Belair and the Street Profits share a hug. Belair tells them to win the tag team titles. Belair certainly rose to the occasion. I think she's another star they've made. It's interesting to me that in the last 7 years, all they seem to make is female stars, other than Drew McIntyre being the notable male exception. Uh, Kyla Braxton interviews Sasha Banks. Banks is angry, looks at the scar on her side. She stops and walked off in anger. Braxton interviews Bayley backstage. Bayley mocks Belair, promised to restore dignity to the title. She challenged Belair and promised to take the title. That could be actually a good series. Tag team champions Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode retain the titles over the Street Profits, which obviously, at least to me, Roode and Ziggler are the better team. Ford drops Ziggler with a standing dropkick for a near fall. Ziggler gets isolated in their side of the ring. Ford avoids Ziggler, runs into Roode. Dawkins hits a twisting splash in the corner and follows up with a bulldog. Dawkins catches Roode with a back elbow. Ziggler calls it a distraction. Roode takes advantage, hits Dawkins with a spine buster, and then cut the ring off on their opponent. Ford gets a hot tag, goes nuts on the heels. Ford then hits a suplex on Roode, follows up with a standing moonsault for near fall. Ford then hits a dive to the floor, taking out the heels. Dawkins hits a spine buster on Roode, and then Ford hits a frog splash. Ziggler breaks up the pin attempt. Ford beats Roode in the corner and didn't notice that Ziggler made a blind tag. Ford whips Roode into the opposite corner. Ziggler hits a zigzag on Ford for the win, and then shows footage of Cesaro giving Rollins UFO quite a few times throughout the night. Braxton interviews Cesaro in the back. She notes Paul Heyman insulted him earlier, admits that Heyman's right about some stuff, wrong about one thing. Cesaro does not belong in the ring with Roman Reigns. They cut to Reigns, who has a perplexed look on his face. He couldn't believe that that basically Cesaro thinks he belongs there and urges Jey Uso to take care of him. Natalya with Tamina defeats Shayna Baszler with Nia Jax. Why in the world Baszler is losing to someone like Natalya with 15 years experience at this point doesn't make sense. They go a few minutes. They didn't really build to anything, and it's just there to fill time. Tamina and Jax argue at ringside. Baszler has an early advantage, tries to stomp on Natalya's arms. Tamina pulls her out of the ring. Jax distracts Natalya and rocks her with a knee. Jax jumps on the apron and argues with the referee. Baszler almost runs into Jax, but stops herself, and Nia Jax then rolls Baszler up for the win. After the match, Tamina rocked Jax with a boot to the face. In the back, Uso promises to defeat Cesaro tonight, and they recapped Jey Uso winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, so he at least looks somewhat credible. Cesaro defeats Jey Uso by DQ. They have a really decent match until the finish. Big surprise. WWE doesn't know how to book finishes. Cesaro catches him with a backbreaker early. Uso fights back and goes after the arm. Cesaro knocks him to the floor. Uso recovers and nails a super kick. They go to the break. They come back. Continues working over the arm. Cesaro fights back, and then there's a Samoan drop by Uso. Uso attempts a suplex, but Cesaro reverses it. Cesaro hits crossbody for a near fall. Goes for another super kick, gets a 2 count. Uso climbs the top rope, but Cesaro cuts him off with a drop kick. Cesaro then hits a gut-wrench suplex for the near fall. Uso goes back to the arm. Cesaro then uses a cartwheel to avoid the move. He then hits a springboard uppercut for a close near fall. Uso fights back and hits a suplex into a neckbreaker for another near fall. Cesaro rocks Uso with a lariat and then gives Uso the giant swing. Rollins comes in, attacks Cesaro to end the match. Rollins walks to the stage. He yells that it's not over between the two of them, and that closes the show. 15 minutes covers this program. You really didn't miss much. And in a quarter hour, I saved you from having to watch 2 hours. Other than the Belair thing and the fact that Cesaro and Uso did have a decent match, the rest of the show is skippable. We'll be back with more right after this.